Hey guys, Ralph here. Welcome to True Power Trumpet Fitness. Compression. I haven't done kettlebells in a while, but I'm getting inundated with singers, man. Changing their careers, changing their lives. Anyway, you saw the thumbnail. Perico laid this on me the other day. It was Saturday. Slow Saturday in Las Vegas. But check this out. And I didn't have an answer for it. And I checked around. Who invented long tones? It seems like they've been around forever, especially in the orchestral field. Guys, it's been years since I've done videos on them. And I think I agree with Mel. Ace, if you have an hour a day to waste on playing one note, you're a better man than me. If you want to work on your lyrical playing, play etudes, play excerpts. Anyway, let me honk a little bit and we'll talk about this, because this is an interesting thing. And guys, I'm the first one to tell you, I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. The best I can do is it came from Europe, Germany, whatever. If anybody has thoughts on the subject, I definitely want you to know. But let me honk a little bit and then we will yap. All right. Warm up, nothing. Now, this is what Mel had in mind. Instead of playing one note, get an etude, Charlier number 2, get an excerpt, Pines of Rome, whatever, and play that. Now, guys, I never do long tones. Yeah, I can play as lyrical as anybody, as soft as anybody, as loud and as full as anybody. A lot has to do with the mouthpiece, but I don't sweat the lyrical stuff. Okay? Now, what is my background? I studied with an orchestral player in the Portland Symphony, all grown up. Long tones. Long tones and transposition, which for the orchestra, not a bad way to go about it, but it's not build chops. And that's what we're talking about here, building chops. Vacchiano grew up in Portland, Maine as well, and he would go down to Boston once a week and study with Gustav Heim, who was the principal trumpet player in the Boston Symphony at that time. That was his first teacher. And he says, everybody thinks, Vacchiano, I have an Italian sound. No, my sound is very, very Germanic. Okay? And Gustav Heim, he said, was a huge man. Now, Vacchiano was quite a big guy. He got frail and thin when he was older. But for the most part, he was a big, strong guy, strapping guy. Not an athletic endeavor, but anyway. Gustav Heim was bigger than him. I mean, in girth, in size, and everything. Big face, big features, big nose, big lips. And Jerry said Vacchiano said he played the hugest mouthpiece that he's ever seen in his life. He says, it's like he was kidding. I could have stuck my fist in there. It was like a trombone mouthpiece. And that is the way he played. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum. Now, back then, the orchestral repertoire consisted of maybe a high C on the C trumpet. Okay? So you could get away with that, especially if you're playing the C trumpet. And that is the way Vacchiano taught. Okay, now, Vacchiano was not in any way, shape, or form doing those long tones to build chops. I'll get to that in a second. To build chops, that's dumb. It's just freaking dumb, and it does nothing to teach anybody to build chops, and we'll get that. Now, what he was doing is that those long, sustained lyrical passages, Brahms, whatever, in the orchestra, those were the ones where you made your living, he felt. And he wanted to have those at his fingertips, but he was not trying to build chops. Now, here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Guys, if part of your routine involves long tones that you feel you need them to prepare you for what is going to happen throughout the rest of the day, knock yourself out and do them. But they are not building chops. Quite the opposite. And this is where my background with the physical culture is concerned. If you are exercising, guys, something has to move. Guys, nothing is moving. Nothing is moving, guys. This is long tones are the equivalent to an exercise, the plank. If you've ever seen a plank, I'll put a picture up here. The plank is you are in a push-up position only on your elbows, and you just see how long you can hold that. 3, 4, 5, I think I did 8 minutes once. And my shoulders were killing me for days. And I'm thinking, don't you ever let a pitcher do a plank. I mean, guys, something has to move. Otherwise, in a plank, you are just hurting your shoulders. It's not an exercise. It's a static position that is useless. Now, Mel Broyles, Ace, if you've got an hour a day to waste on one note, be my guest. I think, as I said, if you want to work on your lyrical playing, get an excerpt, get an etude, whatever, and work on it. But just sitting on one note in this stupid flow series, I mean, guys, that doesn't create compression. All it does is stiffen up your lips. That's all it does. Caruso? Are you kidding me? What a dope. What a freaking dope. Now, once again, if you need those long tones to set you up for the day, knock yourself out. That's not what I'm saying, but don't think you're building chops with these. Okay? Now, Perico was talking. Let's think about our idols and long tones. Maynard? Nope. Harry James? Nope. Maurice Andre? Nope. And don't tell me about Maurice Andre. Guys, I sat for an hour in Carnegie Hall and listened to every single note he played of a warm-up, and not one of them was a long tone. Not one. Mel, I told you. Herseth? Nope. You think Herseth is sitting there, 5 minutes, Mr. Herseth? No, I got 7 more minutes. I got it. No. Doc, he may have. Horst Fischer, no. Faddis, no. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Now, you can develop the compression and the control by relaxing the chops, controlling it with the tongue, and playing as soft or as loud as you want. Well, everybody starts with, no, everybody doesn't. Everybody does it. Now, here's another one. My man, Joe Triscari, and you know who his uncles are. He said, and I quote, "Not only have I never heard them play a long tone, I've never heard them say the words long tone." And these are the greatest players that ever lived. And Joe Triscari, even though he was a freelancer, was a top-level orchestral guy, as good as Vacchiano or anybody in the country. He played for MGM. I did a video with him. Brilliant. Never touched. And he was playing mouthpieces smaller than the 1SB. And he had a beautiful, relaxed, full orchestral tone. Perico's teacher, Pellegrini, tremendous player, taught long tones. Perico doesn't touch the long tones. Tom DeLibera, nope. Perello, nope. Guys, the guys with great chops don't do long tones. Now, I'm not saying they're all these great players that do long tones, but it is not developing chops. Quite the opposite. It is ruining chops to just remain static and keep a piece of metal pressed up against your lips. Guys, that is insanity. Where did it come from? I'm going to go back to Gustav Heim, Germany. Guys, back in those days, all the great conductors, all the great soloists, all the great composers and everything all came from Europe. I can only think that this came from Europe. Germany, Russia's involved. Now, we didn't know about Russia back then because of the Iron Curtain and communism and all that sort of stuff. But, guys, now, usually I don't do videos like this and finish with saying, I don't know. But, guys, in this case, I don't know. If you think you have any thoughts on the subject, let me know. Okay? But please, 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 save your time. Don't try to convince me that long tones build chops. All right? All right, guys. Have a great day. Love you all.